morning everybody from Athens. This is our second video on this glorious city with glorious past and a very interesting present. Now if you haven't watched the first video, please go watch it and push the like button. It means the world to the channel apparently, and it doesn't cost you a thing. I came to Athens after India and I was planning to make a video on my team AEK playing against Olympiacos, and in typical fashion for our channel, share with you some stories on the refugee history of AEK, Panionios and Apollon, also refugee teams. We won't be doing any of that. There is time for that, because at this moment, Athens is on fire.
This is a map of Greece pointing at the Tempi area just north of the city of Larissa. On the 28th of February 2023, a passenger and a freight train collided, resulting to the deaths of 57 people, most of them students.
The country's prime minister says tragic human error was to blame.
The two trains were by accident manually placed on the same track, despite their opposite courses, by a tired and inexperienced train station master working alone at the time. Despite it being a very heavy day because of power cuts and stopped trains, the second, more experienced train station master had to leave earlier and go home. Now, after 2 years of governmental inactivity, allegations of cover-ups, and obstructing justice by the state itself, polls show that 70% of the Greek people believe that their very own government lied about the Tempi train crash. 2 years later, on the 28th of February 2025, Greek citizens in 400 cities in Greece and abroad take to the streets and protest, demanding justice, security in their everyday life, and answers to the following burdening questions. Why does Greece still not have a functional remote control system to guide the trains, and a very inexperienced station master has to handle manually and alone the train courses? Why was there a huge explosion immediately after the collision? Why did the officials who came first to the scene alter it during the night, making it extremely difficult to properly investigate it? Why did the victims' families had to resolve to form an independent group whose purpose would be to shed some light to the fatal incident without getting any kind of help from the Greek state? Finally, why did the investigations show that illegal fuel substances, possibly transported by the freight train, may have caused the explosion, which could not be explained otherwise?
We faced probably the biggest demonstration that Greece has seen in the last century, maybe? Probably I'm wrong about that, but anyway, it was huge. Now, mainstream media pushed the idea of human error, and human errors did occur. I mean, there's no deny about that. Human errors, however, are, let's just say, pardonable, you know? We all make them, even if they have the worst consequences. The Prime Minister himself advised the public back then to not trust any conspiracy theories. I think this declaration by itself made just about everybody trust only conspiracy theories. The official decision on what happened in that day was made public 1 day before the demonstrations. We knew about these facts for months. I mean, really now, who does that?
Those over there are the names of the kids that died that horrible day.
Henrietta Molho. This girl, 23-year-old girl, simply vanished. After the trains collided, after the explosion, absolutely nothing of hers was found. Can you believe that?
And right above her name we can read 56-year-old Syrian refugee. Like, wow.
Το βίντεο δεν σβήνεται, αυτό είναι το καλό του.
Εννοείται ότι το δεν σβήνεται. Απλά αυτό θα δείξει τα παιδιά σου, σίγουρα δεν σβήνεται.
And it gets even wilder, man. Can you believe that? Certain members of the judiciary system resign and are substituted by others. Certain family members of people who are involved in the whole investigation disappear. All this had basically one single effect on the collective way of thinking, and that effect was a complete mistrust on everything that is being told by the Greek state. So what is your opinion, you may ask? Now, yours truly has thoughts. When something so tragic happens, people need closure, and this should be the first priority of any kind of investigation. The demonstration itself, this was huge, man. This was absolutely wonderful. You saw people from the entire spectrum. Everybody participated. Not only political people, you know. Today is match day. AEK is playing against Olympiacos. Normally speaking, during game days, I am actually buzzing. And it doesn't matter if it's my own team, AEK, or Liverpool, or a team that I just visit in another country, you know, like Genoa, Atalanta, Napoli. Doesn't really matter. Game day is an important thing in our lives. This is not happening today, and I apologize for that, because my head is still on the events of a couple of days ago. In terms of football and the supporters, I was very happy, man, to see everybody from all Greek teams participate into the protest and not engage into, I don't know, fights between themselves. This was brilliant. Of course, a minor fraction was accused of taking part in the violence. There is violence among supporters, we all know that. Definitely not everybody who took place in the protest was violent. We should also know that. There were kids, there were family men with kids, people in wheelchairs, older people, and that can only be a good thing. And the image of those people leaving the protest and the ambulance rushing between them irritates my guts. It shouldn't have ended like that. And it's been happening for years, decades. All we hear is that a group of masked people fight with the police and protests break in violence. I think it's some sort of a protocol by now. Flipping hell. Extremely annoying. And while I was walking home, I couldn't help it but think that probably the greatest response to this would have been to get out on the street the next day in equal numbers. I mean, imagine that. We must just hope that the message was transmitted. Generally speaking, I'm a very optimistic person. I do acknowledge, however, that Greek politics and the relationship between the Greek state and its citizens do need to grow up. You see, ever since we managed to gain our independence from the Ottoman rule, we, the citizens, have a client kind of relationship with the state, and absolutely every political party takes advantage of this thing. We practically sell our votes for a short-term benefit. Accidents like this one are the direct consequence of a state that doesn't really care. Flipping hell, man. We need to go to the stadium. I cannot believe how not in the mood I am. The last couple of days have been sad, man. I mean, we have to be honest. Anyway, let's go to the stadium. Maybe we get into the whole vibe thing. Let's go. What I do need to add here is that this is basically the first game that we play with the home crowd. I mean, the last two of them were behind closed doors. As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago I ended up outside of the stadium watching the game on a screen. I did go to the handball game though, which had some very decent atmosphere. Thank God for that. Bloody hell, man, the fucking thing is like a funeral. You see, we did play Olympiacos for the cup in their ground and we lost 6-0. Can you believe that? This has been ridiculous, man. I mean, we don't have the team to face Olympiacos. They are way better team than us this year. As for the atmosphere, I mean, I've seen worse, but not in this stadium. What was that, man? I mean, that was horrible. Now let me explain to you what happened there. First of all, we have a lousy team. The thing is that we used to have a brilliant team, and in our collective memory, exactly the same thing happened back in the 90s, man. Back in the 90s, a very young former, the same owner that we had last year, he was very young back then. He sold the team to people who are horrible. I don't know if you're following the Premier League. You probably know AEK, the fund, I think it's a fund, that owns Tottenham Hotspur. We had the same owners back then. It was a disaster. And to our collective memory, it's the same thing that's happening now. Check it out, we have the Greek Communist Party. The Greek Communist Party has its headquarters some 3 minutes from the AEK stadium. And you know what they say, right? When the fans feel that the team is being deconstructed and basically destroyed, all hell breaks loose. Anyway, that's more or less all from Athens. See you at the next one. Bye bye.